Is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to episode 9 of Sunday Morning Conversation, where we talk to content creators, large, small, and everywhere in between in the TCG business, Pokemon, and card space. If you want to be on a future episode of Sunday Morning Conversation, please reach out to me at the email in the description below or on Instagram. Today is a day I've been waiting for 3+ years. Everyone, if you don't know who this guy is, I don't know where you've been. Probably single-handedly someone who has got the majority of people selling cards or making content on YouTube now into the game. Please welcome Rob from RNG Games to the show. Rob, how are you doing, my friend?
Wow, what an intro. I don't think I'm that special.
Hey, it's like I said before, man. When you hit, sometimes you just hit a right bar with people, and it goes further than the average person. So, yeah. So for those who may not know who you are, if you want to do a little intro of who you are, what you do, and yeah.
Yeah. So, it's Rob. I own RNG Games in New Jersey. Make a few videos here and there when I can. You know, it might be a little sparse as of lately, but I try. Basically just doing the thing, man, buying cards and selling cards and just documenting the process and how I do it along the way.
So I think the first thing I want to ask you, and I know a lot of people are probably anxious to know, is, and I don't know how much you can tell us, but how close are we to the RNG Games Emporium opening up? Now we're anxious to see that beast of a store.
Yeah, so I signed the lease back last year, probably in June. We've been waiting for permits, like construction permits, for months and months. We just got them like 2 weeks ago. Oh, they just started doing like all the construction and everything like that. So probably mid-August, I'll be like moved in. They said they're gonna finish around, beginning of July. So I figure maybe give myself a month to get everything situated, line in place, ordering all new stuff, ordering all new tables, chairs, and whatnot, and hopefully August.
How's that going to affect the lease at your current place? Are you going to be able to? Is that going to run into like you running out before then, or?
No, luckily, like it's like I'm done in October in the new place, so August it'll be like like a completely clean transition. I still have the warehouse for a little bit, but I'm probably going to keep that for a little bit just to like store some like nothing crazy, just like unused fixtures and things like that. But.
Sure. So before we get into any crazy categories, obviously the elephant in the room would be is you started, as I have and a lot of others, on the back of bulk, creating that foundation to be doing other things. Obviously there is no right or wrong way to start a business, and I've heard you say it a million times, but for those out there who might be curious as to maybe one of the better ways to start, maybe you'd like to preach to the choir one more time about why bulk can be and really is one of the backbones to creating a solid foundation in a business, and is possibly the best way to get started in general.
Oh, I mean, bulk is everywhere. You're never going to have a shortage of it. Granted, Pokemon bulk I don't do just because it is very low value and there's not a lot of playable stuff in there. I mean, you could sift it by hand with ease. That's how many like things that are over my threshold now that I could like pull out and actually sell for like a decent profit. That and the cuties and stuff like that, the Pikachus, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But with Magic, like so many things that are playable and that people buy that it's genuinely risk-free. It is the easiest way. Well, not easiest. It's the least expensive way to start selling cards. Because if you're just starting, you don't know if you're going to like it. So why start with $10,000 of a collection purchase when you could buy $100, $200 worth of bulk? If you actually like it.
Yeah, I like to say with some other habit changing things I've been into, it's like the easiest hard thing you'll do, because you'll find out very quickly the amount of time that it takes to even do the smallest amount depending on the way you want to tackle it, because like you said before, there's so many different ways you can package it up, sell it individually, make master sets, you can make play sets. I mean, it's really just kind of picking the avenue you want. When it comes to bulk, because I know it is plentiful, it is everywhere. I know there are people that are a little worried that with the Roca Sifter coming out and the ease of access, that might speed things up to the point where bulk will, you know, in your bigger bulk markets, because everything's got a market, you know, the 2 cent, 2.5 cent threshold is kind of where we are, and that's where we were in the COVID times. People are worried that you're going to have to start buying bulk for maybe $30 a thousand or $40 a thousand, these astronomical numbers. If it does get to there, is that really a pain point? And do you think there's ever a point that could happen with people starting in bulk and then possibly finding out that it's not for them all around in general?
No, I don't think it'll ever get to that point, to the point where it's, you know, $30 a thousand. I mean, it's getting close now with Pokemon, but I really don't think it'll ever get to that. I don't think the sifters coming to market will affect it as much as, you know, I originally thought, just because you still have to do the thing. Like it'll help you, but you still have to do everything else. It doesn't do everything else. It's a hand to help you, but it's not the end all be all. Like when I originally got the Fizz batch, I was like, oh, I don't have to do anything anymore. I got this machine. It's so fast, but you still have to organize it. You still have to put it away. You still have to ship the card. You still have to do everything else. Sure, you're not hunched over a desk till 2 a.m. sifting through cards, but you're still hunched over your inventory trying to put it in place and sort it and, you know, condition it and do all that other stuff. So it does take, you know, a lot off the plate, but whatever it takes off the plate, you put on another plate. So it's like it helps, but it's not the end all be all. So I don't think it's ever going to get to that. If it does, you know, cards will be more valuable, so we'll make more money hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, my gripe still now, because I had like 2 in my cart, and I ended up, after I talked to Chase a couple weeks ago, I ended up holding off just to make sure it does what it says it does, only because I mainly do Pokemon. And with the scan and identify software, as much as there's great things that Tcgplayer does, scan and identify and Pokemon are like oil and water. The number of variations, the inability to detect foils. I think the first time I tried doing what I think I had like a 5-row of prismatic evolutions, reverses, and hollows, and I scanned in 1,000 cards.
That's the worst set to do it with, by the way.
And 1,000 cards were wrong. And somehow, like, the AI knows how to pick the wrong set when the cards are from different sets. Not only that, but if I were to do prismatic evolutions and take the same card from the set it's originally from, it would then say prismatic evolution. So I don't understand it. I don't get it. So I kind of held off to find out what the issue is, if they maybe upgrade that software. Do you have any, with being more on the Magic side of things, do you have any maybe reservations that people aren't thinking about to keep in mind, other than what you just mentioned? Or is it pretty much just you got to get your hands on it, see how much of what they said really is true, and then go from there?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I definitely, you definitely have to get your hands on it and test it out yourself. Like when I originally got the Roca, they said, 99.9% accurate. It wasn't. No, it wasn't straight out the gate 99.9% accurate. I'd say it was 95% accurate, and that 5% was a headache. It used to scan things wrong all the time. It still does it from time to time, but now it's way, way more accurate than, like, maybe 1 or 2 cards per sort get like misscanned, but it's mostly like the M10s, M11, M12, M13, those things, and the list. Once you get to the end of the sort and you see a bunch of list cards, you got to like be a little more aware of what you're putting away.
Sure.
Now it's definitely got a lot better. I'd say it is that 99.9% accurate now, but I don't know if it's gonna be the same like software they use for the Roca as they do for the the Roca sorter than the Roca sifter. I don't know if they're using the same software. If they're using scan and identify, I don't think it is scan and identify. It could be a completely different software they use for the Roca. You know, because I know I use scan and identify in the store with, you know, Tcgplayer Pro and, you know, a camera and everything like that. And that is kind of not accurate all the time. So, you know, definitely got to get your hands on it. But it is like its own contained apparatus where it's been designed to scan cards. So I assume that, you know, the lighting is perfect, everything is perfect. So it takes away that variable of you having, you know, a bunch of overhead lights that are competing for the picture of the card, you know, shining on, you know, because in my store I have a LED light right above it that like shines so perfectly on the card to the point where I have to completely relocate the buying station, which I'm not doing right now. So I just have to deal with it. So I would assume that the machine itself is a lot better than using, you know, your phone or tablet or whatever you use. But until we get our hands on it, we're not going to know.
Now, someone that's your size, or you know, Louis with Kitchen Table, or Mason and Cardinal, a lot of people that are looking up like me might think that, you know, when it comes to machines like this, you know, you get your hands on it, something might go wrong. But when they look at guys like you who are very successful, they may not think like, okay, maybe they don't have to deal with these kinds of things all day because they have these bigger and grander machines. Maybe it'd be cool to hear you kind of go into maybe the pain points that you have, whether technology or not, of things that you run into on a daily business, and how it's not necessarily grass is greener on the other side just because I have a 7-figure business. You still probably have the same type of things you have to deal with on a regular basis that maybe we don't, but are still problematic points that you have to deal with that are a PIA, and it's just part of the business as you grow.
Yeah, I mean, you know, inventory is definitely the pain point, you know, with Pokemon getting stuff like that. But like on a day-to-day basis, like I'm bouncing around like a pinball machine in the warehouse, you know, like trying to take the priority, which is, you know, the collection buys of the day or week, go through all them, pull out what I'm going to need for the store, pull out what I'm going to sell on Tcgplayer, while the fizz batch is going, making my lots, sifting, while the roke is going, and this machine ends, and then that machine ends, and I'm doing something else, and I'm jumping back here, I'm jumping back there. It's just like a pinball machine to me in the warehouse. And just time management. You know, by the time I blink, it's already like 4 o'clock, and I'm like, oh shit, I feel like I got nothing done. Absolutely nothing done for the day.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have to just be okay with always being behind. You're never going to be on top of it and be like, I just processed the last card I will ever process for the day, and I'm going home. That's just not, you know, tomorrow is another day, another battle. The cards will be there. You'll get to it. That's what I kept having to tell myself.
Yeah, I mean, I had my low point a couple of weeks ago, and I'm trying to do that where it's that saying like tomorrow's day one. It's like whether you're trying to quit drinking or you're trying to lose weight, it's whether it's a good day or a bad day. It's just tomorrow's day one. Doesn't matter what happened today. If it was a great day, sweet. What's the saying? This too shall pass. Whether it's a good day or a bad day, it will get past, and you'll go through. How has the content strategy been for you? I know you're pretty famous for doing a video once every couple weeks to a month. Once the store gets settled, are we going to be able to see a little more of Rob around the YouTube parts, or are we going to stick to that monthly schedule to really get the?
No. I hope to be making a video. I want to make a video every other day. I really do. Like, but you know, I have employees, you know, some of them don't want to be in the video, some of them do. It's just like when I have to record a video, it has to be like before everyone gets there or after everyone leaves. It's not going to be after everyone leaves. I'm not going to be there. So like I have to like get there in the morning, you know, at 6 o'clock to like kind of make a video and I even get an idea for a video. Sometimes when I'm driving to the warehouse, I'm like, oh, that's a good video. And I'll just make a video. But you know, there's a lot of moving parts because of my employees. You know, that some of them just don't want to be in it, and I can't like record them when they don't want to be in a video. It's just
Sure.
not right. But I do want to make a whole series of setting up the new spot. Everything, you know, like kind of a vlog style of just setting up the store, going through everything, showing what everything costs. It's amazing what chairs and tables cost. Crazy. Like I'm spending almost like 25 to 30 grand just on tables and chairs. So it's like things start to add up quite aggressively once you buy a lot of them. So I do plan on making a full series, start to finish, setting up the whole thing. Not the construction, because I'm not doing that. That's, you know, the landlord's doing that for me, thank God. But I do plan on doing a whole series of everything, like inventory, how I do that, everything, the warehouse, setting up the warehouse, doing all that stuff. Well, you got to hold me to it.
Yeah.
Because once I start, like day one, I don't make a video. I'm like, oh, everything's scrapped. That's it. Let me just set up everything really quick, and then I'll make a video.
Yeah, I have the same problem all the time. And honestly, I'm, watching some of your older stuff and, however long ago, I would always sit there and be like, come on, man, it ain't that hard to do more than one video. And now that I'm like doing this halfway consistently, it's like I get so focused on doing this and then that. The next thing I know, it's like 11:30, and it's like, man, I said I was going to start doing this, and then okay, we'll just do it tomorrow. And tomorrow turns to the next week and turn month, and now it's like I get it, I get it, and I can't even imagine what it is on being at your level, how strenuous that is. And I mentioned that because, and I hope this doesn't come off weird, but there's a lot of people in this space, even in the sports space too, like card collector and king of the cards and anyone, not even cards. There's always people that you, like I said in the beginning, you gravitate to, you kind of latch on to them, and they just have a special place in whatever it is you're trying to chase. For me, that's you. For some people, that's weirdly becoming me. I like when I'm working on stuff, I always have stuff on the background, and when I'm tired, it's like, let's just throw on an old RNG video to see this dude grinding so I can get back on the grind. It helps me out. When you were starting and you were still working at your warehouse job and getting to that point where you're getting your store, who were your sources of kind of what you watched to kind of help you focus in on what you were chasing and what you were trying to do?
I mean, I watched a lot of Rudy, of course. I watched Mason too. You know, he's a friend now, which is crazy that I used to watch his videos, and now I can call him on the phone anytime I want and he'll pick up. It's kind of weird. Just I'm trying to think of other ones. There's a couple other ones that don't make really videos anymore. Oh, Rogue Deck Builder. Watched him set up his shop, which when he originally, I'm not sure if he's there anymore, but it was upstairs. And at the time I was like, I will never have a store that is upstairs. Just thinking about deliveries. But him, I'm trying to think what else. A couple other ones, but they just don't make videos anymore. But that was it.
When you signed the lease for your warehouse upstairs at your old building, did you have that
I did, but I was like, you know what? It's under the same roof. It'll be easy. There was an elevator in the back, so it wasn't that bad. But still, it was pretty bad because we would get a pallet, and I'm the guy doing it. So I'm like, okay, let me load up the elevator. Hopefully no one steals all my shit while I take it up. Unload it, bring it down. All right, everything's still there. Let's do it again. So it was a little crazy.
So let's talk about the market for a little bit, because I know between you and a couple other guys, going back 6 months, a year, probably a little over a year now, was a lot of thought on how things would happen. And now that we are still on this, just like, it's not even like this, it's just like, whoop, everything is just absolutely insane. Do you think there's going to be some cataclysmic event in the next 6 to 12 months that's going to calm this down? Or is it really just going to be after 30th celebration and keep our fingers that someone has enough water to put on this thing? Because I think we've all would agree to a certain point, things are it's just starting to feel dangerous right now with how crazy things are. And I'd be curious to know what your feeling is on the market on not just Pokemon, but Magic cards in general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I really don't see Pokemon, cooling off anytime soon. I mean, I it's been 2 years already. You know,
Yeah.
it would have happened already. I think the only real thing that I think could happen is a couple bad sets and then just lack of interest. But I don't like a combination of those two together. You know, people just falling out of love with it again and a couple bad sets in a row. And for Perfect Order to still be over $200 a box,
Yeah.
and it's let's be honest, it's not the best set. So I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. With Magic, it's a little different. A set will come out, it'll do terrible. The collector boxes are always a safe bet. Doesn't matter. You just gotta wait. Um, Collector boxes are kind of it. Like I always order an insane amount of those now, just because they stopped making them the way they did. I back when Karlov Manor came out, and I almost imploded the whole business, taking pre-orders from people on Patreon that not pre-orders, pre-requests that had no intention of buying it if it did bad. Completely almost destroyed my business. So I don't do it anymore. That's why I don't take on any more new people, because I don't want to overpromise and under deliver. I really don't see that happening for Pokemon. Magic, different story, because it's set by set. It's definitely player driven, not really collector driven. All there has to be is one bad set, and then people don't buy it. That's with Magic. That's what it is. So I don't see that happening for Pokemon at all. Judging from the store, judging from the shows, judging from everything, it's booming.
Yeah.
Like
How is your show going, by the way? I see the ads for it constantly. It seems like it's really popping off. Obviously, I don't live up there, so I can't see it firsthand, but it looks like it's going absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, my wife controls that side of the business. Thank God, she is great with it. I don't have any say in the show. She completely runs it. It's not mine. Let me say that now. It's hers. But it's going great. We branched off to Pennsylvania. We did a show in Maryland, Jersey, of course. We did want to do one in Kentucky and Florida. It just didn't work out logistically. But they've been going great. I mean, every show sells out. They're sold out. Tables are sold out months in advance. So if you message me for a table, I get so many messages all day. And I don't answer. Please message the show page, because I don't answer those.
Do you plan on ever having sponsoring a table, or even having a table at your own show, or do you even do that? Is that like a faux pas of the show running world?
Yeah, I think it is, personally. There are people that do it. I just think it is, because I don't want to compete with them, because I'm giving them a place to sell and stuff like that. So I don't like to do that. Plus, I just don't really have the time to do it. I would either need to do it, or I would need to hire people, and some of my staff is working the show, so I have to hire more people and things like that. So I just don't like doing it, just because I'd rather give because I would need like 3, 4, 5 tables, and I'd rather give that to other people.
Yeah. Last week when I was talking to Aurora, who is great, I love that guy. We were talking about online selling.
Oh yeah, I watch his stuff too.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Yeah. I was asking about online selling, because I feel like not only with online selling and shows, it feels like there's so many people getting into it that it feels like the barrier of entry is going to be getting like harder and harder. Even if that happens, what would you say to someone who's thinking about trying to do a show or thinking about online selling? Should that barrier stop them from trying because of how many people are doing it? And if so, like, what are things that you could think of that might help someone try to differentiate themselves in a booming market online and all across the internet?
I mean, it's hard. We're all doing, the same shit. We're all buying and selling cards. Just be honest. Be a good person. Be personable. You have no clue how many times, like at the end of the show, me and my wife, we kind of walk around, ask how people did and stuff like that. And, you just have to be personable. The people that don't do good, you know, either they, outprice themselves on their inventory. They come to a show and have all $1,000 plus cards. I'm like, yeah, of course you didn't do good. You have all $1,000 cards. You're catering to the top 1% of the 1% of a niche hobby. You know, uh, you gotta have something for everyone. That's kind of how business works. You gotta have something for everyone to be relevant. I know, yeah, it's great to sell $1,000 card and make, $100 or $200, but the thing that keeps my door open is the dollar binder and the ones and twosies. The $3, $4, $5 cards. They sell all day long, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Sure, you have to do more transactions, but that's the thing that keeps a business alive. The small ones and twosies transactions that you make 1,000% profit on.
Yeah,
That's
I've
like pretty much
actually
how you have to do it.
I've actually been more because of time, but I've actually been starting to make my own like dollar binders for the inevitability to have a store. Every time I put in an order for boxes, I'm like, let me just order a green binder, and then I just start chucking that dollar, bulk rares in there, just so that way it's there. And the day that I get to open, I already have all this stuff together. How far in advance did you look into the future when you were starting up and even in the fledgling years of RNG? Like how much did you plan ahead? How much did you live in the moment of trying to figure out what direction you wanted to go? Because I think that's a challenging thing now, especially with how many people are getting in here. So many people are opening stores. I would even argue more than even during COVID,
Yeah.
with the product availability and the allotments that you're getting from distribution and all these different factors. How important and how far out should someone be planning on whatever path that they are trying to go in the hobby or business?
Well, I mean, if you're opening a store now at this moment and you want it to primarily be Pokemon, don't rely on getting anything really. You can't. Um, you have to figure out. You have to sell other things than Pokemon because, you're gonna get your initial allocation and it's gonna be a box, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't make my rent because I got a box. So you definitely have to diversify and do other games. I know a lot of people that, want to just burrow into the Pokemon niche, don't want to do other things, but it's good to attract other people. It's good to have a diverse customer base because if you have just a singular customer base that just wants Pokemon, and Pokemon soon, maybe, who knows, starts going the other way, you have no other crutch to rely on. It's like a tripod. You got to have other things in the store for people to buy, whether it's, Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, or One Piece, whatever. You have to have other things for people to purchase and not $1,000 plus cards only. You have to have something for everyone. Uh, when I originally opened my store, I opened it and I was like, all right, I have to figure out how to make my rent just online because there were some days where literally not a single one, not one person came in. So like you have to figure out how to make your money, uh, not rely on people walking in the door because you're a new business. So granted, your friends aren't going to come in every day and buy cards from you. I know that's the hope that people people you
Yeah.
and contact with would come in every single day and buy tons of shit. But get busy.
Yeah.
So I originally opened my door. I was like, I got to figure out how to make my money online before I even worry about how to make the actual business in the store become profitable. And that's kind of what I ran with straight off the bat. Granted, I opened the door and I had kind of a crutch of another business that I was operating. I used to do like liquidations and things like that. So I was doing that as well. And then, 6, 8 months later, I was like, I can't do that anymore. Things are getting too busy. I have to focus on this. But I still took that same strategy of, scaling online to float the store while the store became its own thing.
How much bigger? I know you. I remember. I can't remember the exact size of the new store, but you said it's going to be like 5,000 plus square feet or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's 6,200 square feet. Yeah.
Now, as someone who has been the listed all guy, and it's worked for a very long time, there might be change in the air. Who knows? We'll be talking about that more down the road. I remember very specifically in one video that I actually saved where you said,
Right.
if I had enough room to do it, I'd sell everything, but I don't right now, so I can't. As the things before, there's no wrong way to do it, but where does the benchmark, where is that going to land once you have this much space? Is your floor per card going to go down to where you're going to start trying to do more lower value things? How is that going to change for you? And how important is it for someone at any size to kind of hone in on that like perfect point for them, knowing that there's tons of ways to do things?
Well, you have to do what you can handle. Like at that time, probably when I made that video, I didn't have the connections I have now with being able to acquire endless amounts. When I mean endless, it's endless. It's forever bulk. Like I can get it forever. I was relying on people walking in, selling me bulk that way. So I was like, oh, I can list every card because, once a week someone trades in maybe 4 or 5,000 cards. I could get that sorted, listed in no time at all. But, that has changed. It changed first when I was like, okay, now I'm going to sift anything under 10 cents. Anything under 10 cents is just going to be bulk. And I'm going to just, make lots and do the other things like that. Then it changed to 15, then 20. Now it's up to 25. So now anything under 25 cents is a complete bulk for me. And I don't think it's going to change for a little bit just because there's still a lot of playable stuff that's around 25 cents. So 25 cents right now is my floor price for anything bulk. So anything under 25 cents is bulk for me. So I just get rid of it that way. You just got to go with what you have, what you could get, and what you can actually handle as a human being. If you only get 1,000 cards a week, that's easy. You can list everything. But if you're getting 20, 50, 100,000 cards every week, there's no way you can catch up with that, even with machines. Even I can't. There's only so much time in the day, and it has to feel right for you, and it has to make you happy. And if it makes you happy, listen every card, do it. But it didn't make me happy because there was a lot of times where I was listing every card at the beginning where I was just so burnt and I didn't want to do anything else. So I slowly transitioned up and up and up and up, and now we're at the 25 cent mark, which under 25 cents is bulk. So if you buy a bulk lot from me on eBay, it's value right there.
It's a place to start. I mean, I know some people who I think Louis sells like large flat rate boxes for X amount. I know people who have gotten started off buying those because his floor is so high. I think his floor is like 50 or 60 cents. So it's like there's ways to do it. You just kind of have to kind of dig deep and figure out a way. what is next for you once you get this store up and running and you have it for a number of years? Is the goal to go even bigger and bigger? Do you plan on exiting at some point? Do you want to open another store and become like for us? I remember when I was like 16, Cool Stuff Games that's when that opened roughly, and I used to know the owner because he frequented a lot of the stores in that time. And now there's a couple different stores around Orlando, Maitland, in the area that I work at. Is that a goal for you to where you have a couple different locations in an area? Do you plan on having like a Burbank sports card store where you just have literally everything trading card games? What do you have in store for your future, and what your future endeavors are?
Right now, like if you were to ask me, we're at this point in time would be 5 years and I'm done. I it's far too fast paced for me. I'm getting old now. I'm 40 years old, so it's
I'm 41. That
can't
excuse
take
doesn't work.
I can't
I'm
take the
joking.
fast pacedness of it anymore. So, me and my wife, hopefully in the next upcoming 5 years, we've been, investing in real estate. So hopefully that will become its own thing, which it has already. Thank God we have, people managing it for us. But hopefully that becomes something and I could transition into that. And it's much less fast paced. It's easier on my brain. It's a lot less moving parts. Sure, the numbers are a little higher,
Yeah.
but it's fine. I don't think I want to move. I want to get multiple stores, and if I do, it would be a partnership type thing where I would just be financially vested in something where I'd be a partner. But day-to-day operations of doing something 7 days a week, 365 days a year, retail setting, I don't think after 5 years I'm going to be looking for something even bigger.
Interesting.
At this point in time.
Sure.
Could change once I open, but you're asking me now.
Yeah, no, I was curious because someone at work the other day was asking me about, I work in a pharmacy, so the pharmacist is kind of well off, and he's asking me like, do you have retirement set up and this, that, the other? And I kind of don't, because when COVID ended, or when it started, I was having some issues with some management changes, and I did not want to work in a pharmacy during COVID. I was not going to do that. I wasn't happy for a bunch of other reasons, so I cashed out the retirement that I had to like get most of my debt taken care of, which I know a lot of people says is the wrong move, but ultimately it set me up to now do what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I did the same.
Yeah. So there's plenty of time to build it back up. But yeah, it got me thinking, like, even someone at your, I mean, I would say not even at your peak yet, but it's always interesting to see someone who's successful and what their 5 to 10 year plan is. Cause I know what my plan is. I'm going to do it in another video soon, but going back to the bulk thing, I did end up taking the offer to sell most of the bulk that I had accumulated. And I was so nervous to do it, not only for the content side of things, but I had gotten into the habit of buying whatever, getting my money back instantly. But then I got into the cycle of just doing that over and over again, and then never like selling the bigger stuff or the better stuff. I'm going to make like an hour-long video of all the stuff that is sitting here. And I'm going to, I want to tell you face to face, I'm taking your $100,000 eBay challenge. My goal is that this time next year, I want to make $100,000. And by the 2 years from now, I want to either have my own store or be able to quit, or at least go part-time. Because back in the day, we had a card store around us, and it was easily one of the best periods of my life because it was peak Friday Night Magic. It was like 50 people for Friday Night Magic. Everybody was cool with each other. You had this big old plasma TV screen in the background where they had this huge giant couch with all the anime nerds watching their anime, and it was just like, it was like heaven to me. And that's like the type of thing I would love to own. And you know, I can't wait for it to happen. And I think that's where I get so frustrated, maybe too hard on myself, because I know how much I want it, and because it's not happening fast enough, I had to keep checking myself and saying, "Hey, you gotta look, you gotta live in the moment," and just like we said before, one day at a time. What points in your journey, whether when you were doing liquidations in the warehouse, and even when you were at your original store, did you have those fleeting moments of like, oh man, is this ever going to happen? Because I think you'd agree that no matter at what point of success you have, you're always going to have that feeling. And how does someone like you, who is very successful, deal with those moments as we're sure they come?
I mean, I still have those moments to this day, and you always will. The feeling never goes away. The numbers just get bigger. You know, business is a roller coaster. It's ups and downs always. When you're down here, you're like, oh shit. Am I, just add a couple zeros, and then it really doesn't go away. When I first started, buying a single case of booster boxes used to stress me out, like to the point where I was like, is this worth it? Am I ever gonna make this money back? Oh my god. Those feelings really never go away. They just get bigger, and now it's like, oh, I just bought a pallet of commander decks. Am I ever gonna, I just bought 2 pallets. Is it am I ever gonna sell these? You will. It might take a little bit. You might have to sit on a few. You might have to, figure out how to move some money here and there, figure out where you're going to sell it. But the feeling never goes away. I still to this day, I get stressed out beyond belief. Ask anyone I deal with on a day-to-day basis. Ask my employees. Occasional crash out here and there in the warehouse happens from time to time. But there is no way of dealing with it healthy. I don't think, granted, I started going to gym, trying to take better care of myself. That's one way that I kind of deal with that kind of stress of day-to-day business, is do something that I want to do, which is, go to the gym and try and be a little bit more healthy. But you just have to figure out what kind of works best for you. If that's not being stressed out, and don't open a business because the stress doesn't go away. It just gets, the numbers just get bigger, like I said,
Sure.
and the stress really doesn't go away.
One of the things I used to stress out about starting off was finding bulk, because like you said before, with any sourcing, sourcing inventory is probably one of the more challenging things, whether it's bulk or not. And as I've progressed, I now have people who seek me out. I actually have a few local game stores that don't deal with it at all, so they basically buy on my behalf. I can come grab whatever I want. It's like, sometimes that's
great.
Literally, I buy it from this guy and then I sell it to that guy, and then it's just like bing bang boom. But in doing that, the one thing I've learned, I think, of all the attributes that I look for in people that I deal with, trustworthiness and loyalty are like the most invaluable things, knowing that I don't have to worry about chasing after this guy for money. I don't have to worry about him or her canceling on a meetup. With you at your level, is there anything that trumps those two attributes in what you look for in business partners or who you deal with? And how do you handle that when thing does go wrong? Do you give them a second shot? Are you so busy and have so many outreach that it's one and done? Like, how do you gauge who you kind of give that olive branch to when something goes awry?
So normally it's one and done. If you screw me over once, you're gonna do it again. That's one thing that people have to realize, that especially in this industry, it's very niche. Everyone knows everyone, so people talk.
Oh yeah.
That's one thing that people don't really value now, which is relationships in business. It's one thing that I kind of take very seriously, is relationships. If you build and cultivate a relationship in business, it's gonna, pay over 10 times over. So if anyone ever like screws me over business wise, they're kind of, dead to me. That's how I deal with it. I normally don't give people a second shot. just because
Yeah.
there's very few people that actually do business to business, real business to business transactions with. There's maybe one or two. Like there's not a lot.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's not to the point where, granted, I keep people at like arm's distance. Is, that's one thing that I kind of have to look into myself about. Is I always think someone's talking to me trying to get something. And that's, something that I kind of have to deal with myself with, because, granted, some people just, they might want to just bend my ear and talk and hang out. But I'm like, what's this person after? What's their end game? I don't want to, start a relationship with someone. And then, once something comes out, hey, could you get me 10 cases of this? And I'm just like, dude, I have 8 cases of it. Like, what? You want me to sell you all of my stuff and get 2 more for you? So, that's one thing that I wish was better at, not keeping people so far away and being like back, but
Yeah,
normally it's one and done.
It's like someone you don't see someone for 6 months, and all of a sudden it's like, "Hey, Rob, what's
Right.
up, man? How's it going?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
3 days, a new set's coming out. Oh, okay, I see. All right.
I've seen it happen. I mean, just in my little spiel, one of those stores I buy bulk from, I'll be sitting there just kind of hanging out, and then someone will come in, they'll ask if they can buy bulk, and I'll be sitting there, I'll be like, let's popcorn ready. Let's see how this interaction goes. And all they want to do is buy like their better bulk. They don't want to buy the bad stuff. They want the cream of the crop. And the guy, and he'll sit there, and the owner will go, well, no, I've got a guy that's literally going to buy everything for this. And he'll be like, how does he even make money? It's like, I don't know. I don't care. He's helping me out. And it's something that you have to keep in mind doing this, because you're right. I think the card hobby is probably, or business is probably one at the top tier of, people always asking you, and they're sure there are people that do it out of the kindness of the heart, but yes, almost every single person that's coming there is always looking for a deal, always looking for a handout. Well, handout sounds bad, but for help, a little bit of a deal. And it's like, you have to do the bare minimum to just get on the good side and then get the benefits of those rewards. Do you still experience that with like distribution nowadays? I know back in the day you had 1 or 2 distributors that would kind of jerk you around. Are you like big time enough to where that doesn't happen anymore? And because I think maybe some people down on our level might think that doesn't really happen once you have the big contracts and big interactions. But yeah,
I mean, there really is no contracts. People think there is. There really isn't. That's one thing that you have to definitely keep healthy, is your relationship with your distributor. I used to be all Southern Hobby. That was it. They got all of my money, like 99% of it. I had a few bad, allocations and talking with other people. This is back when Prismatic Evolutions came out. And actually before that, Star Wars, the first set. They told me I put in an order for 500 boxes. They told me, my rep told me, dude, your spend is ridiculous. You're getting all of this, whatever you want, you're getting it. And I pre-sold it on Patreon. I was with their word, they said, we're going off total spend in the TCG base. Any TCGs you buy, that's what we're getting your numbers on. You don't have to worry. I sold like 360 boxes on Patreon in 30 minutes.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. I got my allocation, 8 boxes. And I was like, what? Are you serious? Calling a bunch of people, calling Asmodee, trying to get more, and I called up my distributor. I'm like, dude, you're my hype man. You were in my corner telling me I'm getting all this shit. Either you make it right or you lose me. They made that right. Then after that, Prismatic Evolutions, ATBs. Told me I was getting 400. Get my allocation 100. Resold, I think 260 or something like that. I wanted to keep a bunch for the store and everything like that. They told me, sorry, nothing we can do. At that point, I severed the relationship and I went to PhD. I called up PhD and I said, here's my spend. This is what I do. Here's my pricing. Could you match it or beat it? And the guy was like, we'll beat it. Come over here. And ever since then, I have not had a single problem. Granted, it could have been my fault. Maybe I got too friendly with my rep. He was gassing me up, you know, things like that. But when you tell me I'm getting something, and then after the fact, you know, a week before release, you tell me I'm getting something different, you can't do that. So the new distributor, I said, don't tell me anything until it's finalized. So a week before release, they tell me what I'm getting. And that's how I run everything now. That's why, you know, the patron sales are kind of a week before, because I don't know what I'm getting exact amount until a week before. So I don't even do a sale whatsoever until a week before release.
Yeah, I think it's important to kind of have that conviction in yourself with what you're doing. Because, for instance, as an example, at work, sometimes someone will ask me for a favor. They'll say, hey, can you swap a weekend? I got something I got to do. Sure, not a problem. And then I come back expecting no questions unanswered. I need this weekend. I can't do that weekend. Well, what are you talking about, man? I literally just did this for you, and now you're going to start picking and choosing? Fine. It's almost like mafia movies. When you do something for someone, you get shorted, then you just know you never deal with them again. So I personally, it's like, all right, if we're going to do this again, I need double what I'm asking for, and I need you to do it first just to get back in my good graces. The same thing with bulk. Like, you know, a lot of people will say it's hard to get bulk, and it can be, I guess. But I have my rates. I have my, you know, $10 to $15 per thousand. I have this, and there's a lot of people around me, like I said in the beginning, that are buying it for 20, 25. And I'll reach out to people, and they'll say, "Well, can you match this guy?" Sorry, I can't. Not right now.
Yeah.
And almost all the time, they will come back to me because the guy canceled on them, or they rescheduled, or whatever. So I just wanted to share that with everyone, because when you have them on the hook, I know that sounds bad, but when you have them on the hook and you're trustworthy and you pay decently, that's going to win over the one or two people that might go to the top guy. And I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's the same
I
with
mean, yeah, that's just that the reason I went to the new distributors it was 100% because of, you know, what I was told I was getting versus what I was actually getting. You know, if they were honest and right off the bat, and granted, you know, when Prismatic came out, I was talking to other stores that got the same allocation as me, a fraction of my spend, a fraction of my size. Everyone seemed to get 100 boxes across the board. And I'm like, what's the deal? Like, this guy over here got 100 boxes. He spent like $100,000 this year. I've more than 10x that. I explain, and you know, they couldn't explain, of course. So that's when I was just like, you know what? I'll take a step back, doing business with you, and I'll do business with someone else. And you know, at that point in time, I had to buy shit off Tcgplayer, eBay. I was the only asshole who lost money on Prismatic Evolutions, you know, because of how I had to get it. It was, you know, that's another thing. You know, if someone buys something from me, they're getting it. You know, 100%. Doesn't matter if I have to pay more for it, lose money. You gave me your money, you're getting it. Doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter what happens to me. You gave me your money. You trusted me. You're getting your product. Doesn't matter if it's a little late. Maybe it'll be a little late, and I had to spend a little bit more money, but you're getting it. And that's, you know, going back to our conversation about, you know, relationships.
Yeah.
Some people just don't value relationships. And, you know, I'm happy that the distributor that I'm with values my relationship. And it turns out, you know, the main buyer of the distributor comes to our shows all the time. I've had conversations with them. And that's how the actual relationship got started. Oh,
Yeah.
you know, I value business relationships.
You never know, man. That's so good because it's like the butterfly effect of things. Whenever I make a mistake on an order on Tcgplayer, or I ship out the wrong card, or whatever little mistake that can happen, because of the grocery store that I work at and its reputation for customer service, I've always been one, and I wouldn't expect anybody to do this, but I've always been one where it's like, hey, I messed up. Let me refund it. I'll ship it out to you for free. Just bing, bang, boom, done. And yes, that ends up being maybe a extra stamp. It's like $1 loss. I might break even on a whole order. I might lose a few cents. But losing that one little transaction over the number, I mean, I've started looking at my orders now to see, I wonder how many repeat customers I have. And now it's like, I got like 100, like 200, like 5, 6, 7. And there's some of them I've messed up on. And if I just didn't lose that $1 for that one person, I mean, you never know. So you just kind of have to like gauge the best you can and try not to min-max things too much.
Like just eBay's great because you can see all this data, repeat customers, what people buy, their buying patterns, buying history, what they bought from you. You know, just saying that, and you know, I had this one customer who would buy like a $1.99 card every time, just one, and then I messed up on one. I made it right, whatever. And then literally the next like 4 days, he bought a tabernacle from me, $2,800. And I was like, who knows? Maybe if I would have messed up that $1.99 card that he ordered and I was rude to him or disrespectful or anything like that, maybe he wouldn't have bought that, tabernacle from me, $2,800. I was like, holy shit,
That's awesome.
it works.
That's great. I know we're getting close to the end of it, but usually before we sign off, was there any topics that you wanted to talk about before we sign off? If not, is there any message you want to give to the people about, anything in general?
Well, I guess, the podcast and all this stuff's catered towards, people in the resale business. So it's a grind. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it's worth it, but in the end, it's all worth it. Like that's all you gotta. Finish line is there. You're never gonna get there, but the progress you make along the way, is gonna make you a better person in the long run. Whether it's if you don't want to do TCGs anymore and you want to branch off into another business, all the stuff you learned along the way is value add to your own personal development and your own personal entrepreneurship journey. Everything you learn, you don't forget this shit. You don't forget how to make money. You don't forget how to make deals. You don't forget any of that stuff. That stuff's, ingrained into you because you've been doing it for such a long time. So keep grinding. You're never going to get to the finish line. So don't even look at it. Just keep going. And that's basically, that's it. That's all. That's the kind of the motto I live by.
Love it. Love it. Well, I know I did it in the beginning, but I just, again, one more time before we leave, I can't thank you enough, not only for the content over the years, jump-starting my journey into it. The more and more I talk to people and befriend people in this space, the number of people that always say, man, Rob's the GOAT, or he got me started, or this, that, the other. I don't think you really understand how many people you really, your tendrils have reached out to. So just like you told that to us, I would say make sure that whenever you have your rough days, or you think maybe just remember how many people you've really, made a difference in, because it means a lot to me, and I'm sure to many other people. So
I appreciate that, man. I really do.
Yeah.
I guess I don't realize myself, but I appreciate the kind words.
Not a problem. Well, appreciate you guys very much for watching again. We have another banger coming up next week, so make sure you check out with that. And until next time, we'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe.